Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that is rarely addressed with the seriousness it deserves: the profound mechanics of emotional addiction. We are not discussing fleeting attraction, nor are we engaging in superficial manipulation. We are dissecting the deep psychological hooks that tether one human being to another, particularly in the later stages of life. An older man has lived through deception, through heartbreak, through the rise and fall of relationships. He is not swayed by mere appearances, nor is he impressed by temporary excitement. If you wish to create an emotional addiction, you must understand what he lacks, what he regrets, what he fears, and most crucially, what he still hopes for. Listening is not merely about hearing words, it is about understanding the depths beneath them. Most people listen just enough to respond, but few listen to comprehend. There is an extraordinary power in giving someone your full attention, in making them feel that their words carry weight. Deep listening is not passive. It is an active engagement with another person's mind, emotions, and experiences. To truly listen, one must first silence their own internal dialogue. Too often, people are not actually paying attention. They are waiting for their turn to speak. They are filtering the conversation through their own biases, preparing their own responses, and missing the essence of what is being said. The discipline of deep listening requires setting aside the ego, suspending judgment, and immersing oneself in the world of the speaker. When a person feels truly heard, something remarkable happens. They relax, they open up, they reveal things they did not even realize they wanted to say. They begin to trust, and with trust comes emotional connection. Most people go through life feeling ignored, dismissed, or misunderstood. To be the rare individual who listens with complete presence is to offer something invaluable: validation. Deep listening is not just about words. It is about observing what is left unsaid. It is about picking up on the subtle hesitations, the changes in tone, the shifts in body language. A person may say they are fine while their voice trembles. They may laugh while their eyes betray sadness. The art of listening goes beyond the verbal. It requires attunement to the entirety of human expression. Asking the right questions is an essential part of listening. A well-placed question can open doors that would otherwise remain shut. It signals that you are not just passively absorbing information, but are actively engaged in understanding. The best listeners do not ask questions to satisfy their own curiosity. They ask questions that help the speaker articulate their own thoughts more clearly. Patience is the foundation of deep listening. Some people take time to find their words, to sort through their emotions, to express what is truly on their minds. Rushing them, interrupting them, or finishing their sentences disrupts the process. True listening requires a willingness to sit in silence when necessary, to allow thoughts to unfold naturally, and to resist the urge to control the conversation. Emotional mirroring is another powerful aspect of listening. People are drawn to those who reflect their emotions with sincerity. When someone shares excitement, meeting their enthusiasm fosters a sense of connection. When they share sorrow, responding with genuine empathy strengthens the bond. The ability to mirror emotions without exaggeration or pretense makes the speaker feel understood on a fundamental level. Listening is also about memory, remembering details from previous conversations, names, events, personal preferences. Shows that you care enough to retain what was shared. People are deeply moved when they realize their words were not just heard in the moment, but valued enough to be remembered. This kind of attentiveness creates a lasting impression and strengthens relationships. The most profound form of listening occurs when a person feels safe enough to be vulnerable. Many individuals carry thoughts and emotions they hesitate to share with the world. When they encounter someone who listens without judgment, without trying to fix them, without rushing to offer solutions, they feel liberated. They begin to express themselves with honesty, and in doing so, they forge an attachment to the listener. Deep listening can transform conflicts into understanding. Arguments often arise because people do not feel heard. They become defensive not necessarily because they disagree, but because they feel dismissed. When one party listens with true intent, acknowledging the other's perspective without immediately countering it, tensions de-escalate. The simple act of making someone feel understood can be more powerful than any persuasive argument. Mastering the art of deep listening is not about manipulation, it is about connection. It is about stepping outside of oneself and entering the experience of another. It is about recognizing that every individual has a world inside them filled with thoughts, emotions, fears, and dreams. To listen deeply is to give someone the rare gift of being truly seen. The ability to listen on this level is rare, and because it is rare, it is immensely valuable. People will remember the ones who made them feel heard. They will seek out those who listen without distraction, without agenda, without self-interest. Deep listening is not just a skill, it is a way of being, a discipline that shapes relationships, influences perception, and leaves a lasting impact on those who experience it. Stability is one of the most undervalued yet deeply sought after elements in human relationships. People crave a sense of certainty, a foundation they can rely on, a presence that remains steady regardless of the chaos surrounding them. To create an environment of stability, one must first recognize its rarity. Most lives are filled with unpredictability. Relationships fluctuate, emotions rise and fall, circumstances shift. The person who can offer stability stands out, becoming an anchor in an unstable world. Stability does not mean stagnation, it does not mean an absence of change, nor does it imply a lack of excitement. Rather, it refers to a consistency of presence, of behavior, of emotional availability. A person who provides stability is not immune to hardship or frustration, but they respond to challenges in a way that does not create additional turmoil. They become a force of steadiness rather than an amplifier of instability. One of the first elements of creating stability is emotional regulation. People who are unpredictable in their moods, who swing between extremes, who allow small inconveniences to dictate their reactions, foster an environment of unease. Stability comes from the ability to manage emotions, to respond rather than react, to process frustration without allowing it to spill over onto others. A person who can remain composed under pressure offers something invaluable: reliability. Consistency in words and actions is another fundamental component. Many people say one thing and do another, make promises they do not keep, change their stance based on fleeting emotions. This kind of behavior breeds uncertainty, making it difficult for others to trust or rely on them. Stability requires congruence between what is said and what is done, between what is promised and what is delivered. It is not about being perfect, it is about being predictable in a way that fosters security. Physical presence plays a role in stability, but psychological presence is even more critical. A person can be physically near yet emotionally absent, distracted, disconnected. Stability is created when one is fully engaged in interactions, when they listen without rushing, when they respond with thoughtfulness, when they make others feel like they are a priority rather than an afterthought. This kind of presence builds a sense of security, reinforcing the idea that one can be depended upon. Boundaries contribute significantly to an environment of stability. Many people assume that saying yes to everything, being endlessly accommodating, or constantly bending to the desires of others makes them more likable or indispensable. In reality, a lack of boundaries breeds resentment, exhaustion, and ultimately instability. Stability comes from knowing one's limits, from setting clear expectations, from maintaining a structure that ensures balance rather than chaos. The way a person handles conflict is a direct indicator of their capacity for stability. Those who lash out, who allow minor disagreements to escalate, who make impulsive decisions in the heat of the moment, create an environment of volatility. Stability is found in the ability to navigate conflict with composure, to listen before responding, to seek resolution rather than dominance. A stable presence does not mean avoiding conflict, it means approaching it with a mindset that preserves rather than destroys. Predictability in reactions is often underestimated. People feel safe around those whose responses they can anticipate, not in the sense of being dull or monotonous, but in the sense that they do not have to walk on eggshells, unsure of what will trigger an outburst. Stability means that others do not have to second-guess how their words or actions will be received, that they can express themselves without fear of erratic retaliation or disproportionate consequences. Providing stability also involves being a source of calm during external storms. Life is unpredictable, hardships arise, and circumstances shift unexpectedly. The person who can remain centered, who does not let fear dictate their behavior, who reassures rather than amplifies panic, becomes someone others naturally gravitate toward. Stability is found in those who do not crumble when pressure mounts, who offer clarity when confusion takes hold, who remain steady when the world around them is shaking. Patience is a defining trait of a stable individual, the ability to tolerate discomfort, to endure frustration without resorting to impulsivity, to approach challenges with a long-term perspective rather than immediate gratification. These are qualities that set stable people apart. An environment of stability is built not through momentary acts of reassurance, but through a sustained pattern of behavior that reinforces trust over time. Communication plays a crucial role in establishing stability. People who speak in riddles, who withhold important information, who communicate sporadically or inconsistently, create an atmosphere of uncertainty. Stability is fostered when communication is clear, when expectations are outlined, when misunderstandings are addressed rather than allowed to fester. It is not about over-explaining or justifying every action. It is about ensuring that others do not feel left in the dark, uncertain of where they stand. A stable environment is not built overnight. It requires intentionality, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to being a presence that does not waver when circumstances change. It means understanding that people do not remember what was said in fleeting moments of intensity as much as they remember how they felt in one's presence over time. Stability is not about perfection, nor is it about suppressing emotions. It is about cultivating a state of reliability so strong that it becomes the foundation upon which trust is built. A man without purpose is a man adrift, disconnected from the deeper meaning of his existence. He may fill his days with distractions, obligations, or fleeting pleasures, but without a clear sense of why he does what he does, he will always feel an underlying emptiness. Purpose is not simply about having goals. It is about feeling that one's efforts, struggles, and sacrifices matter. To unlock a man's sense of purpose is to reignite a force within him that propels him forward, giving him a reason to wake up with conviction rather than resignation. Many men lose their sense of purpose as they age. In youth, the drive to prove oneself, to build, to conquer, and to establish a legacy is strong. But as life progresses, responsibilities shift, dreams are set aside, and the fire that once burned within can dim. Society often does little to reinforce the value of experience and wisdom, leaving many men feeling obsolete. The key to unlocking his purpose lies in making him realize that his worth is not measured solely by past achievements, but by the impact he can still have. One of the most powerful ways to help a man rediscover his purpose is to remind him of his unique strengths. Every individual possesses skills, insights, and wisdom that are not only valuable but essential. Over time, self-doubt and societal conditioning can erode a man's confidence, making him question whether his contributions still matter. By recognizing and validating his strengths, whether they are intellectual, emotional, or practical, you give him a reason to see himself as relevant once more. A sense of purpose is deeply connected to a sense of responsibility. Men who feel aimless often lack a meaningful role to fulfill. Encouraging a man to take responsibility, not in a burdensome way, but in a way that aligns with his values and abilities, gives him direction. Whether it is mentoring, leading, building, or protecting, responsibility gives a man a reason to push forward even when motivation wavers. It transforms his existence from passive to active, from drifting to driving. Purpose is also rooted in contribution. A man who feels he is giving something meaningful to the world, whether to his family, his community, or a larger cause, feels a deeper sense of fulfillment. The mistake many make is assuming that contribution must be grand to be significant. In reality, even small but consistent acts of guidance, support, and effort create ripples far beyond what one can immediately see. By helping a man identify where he can make a difference, you give him a powerful reason to engage with life. Nostalgia can be a double-edged sword when it comes to purpose. On one hand, looking back at past successes can remind a man of what he is capable of. On the other, dwelling on better times can make him feel as though his best days are behind him. The key is to help him reframe his past not as something lost, but as a foundation upon which he can build something new. The skills, knowledge, and resilience he has gained are not relics, they are tools waiting to be reapplied in new and meaningful ways. A major obstacle to purpose is stagnation. When a man feels stuck, whether in routine, mindset, or environment, his drive slowly withers. Unlocking his sense of purpose often requires introducing challenge and growth back into his life, encouraging him to pursue new skills, tackle difficult problems, or even step into unfamiliar territory reignites the fire that complacency dulls. purpose thrives in movement, in the pursuit of something greater than oneself. Recognition is another crucial component. A man may work tirelessly, think deeply, and sacrifice endlessly, but if none of it is acknowledged, his sense of purpose begins to erode. People need to feel that their efforts are seen and appreciated, offering genuine recognition, not flattery, but sincere acknowledgement of his struggles and achievements reinforces his sense of value. It reminds him that what he does has impact, and that impact fuels purpose. The environment surrounding a man can either nurture or suffocate his sense of purpose. If he is surrounded by negativity, by people who belittle his ambitions or dismiss his ideas, his drive will diminish. Conversely, if he is in an environment that challenges him, that believes in his potential, that respects his aspirations, he will find it much easier to reclaim his purpose. Sometimes unlocking purpose is not about changing the man himself, but about altering the influences around him. Purpose is intimately tied to vision. A man without a clear vision for his future will struggle to feel a strong sense of direction. Helping him create a vision, something he can strive toward, something that excites and challenges him, gives him the clarity he needs to move forward. It does not have to be a grand ambition. Even a personal mission, a creative project, or a long-term goal can be enough to reawaken his drive. The key is ensuring that he sees a path ahead rather than a dead end. Fear often stands in the way of purpose. Fear of failure, of irrelevance, of wasted effort can paralyze even the most capable individuals. Many men suppress their aspirations not because they lack them, but because they fear they will not succeed. Helping a man overcome this fear not by offering empty reassurances, but by reinforcing his resilience, allows him to act despite uncertainty. Purpose is not about guaranteed success. It is about meaningful pursuit, regardless of outcome. Unlocking a man's sense of purpose is not about imposing an idea onto him. It is about guiding him to rediscover what has always been within him. It is about reminding him that his worth is not measured by external validation alone, but by his own ability to engage with life in a way that matters. It is about helping him recognize that the world still needs him, that his journey is not over, and that his purpose, no matter how obscure it may seem, is waiting to be reignited.